Hello everyone, welcome to the LARP Tales podcast, the award-winning podcast where we tell stories through live action roleplay. My name is Oliver, I'm one half of your hosting duo. With me today, as always, is my co-host Robyn, and also joining us today is a returning guest. We have Will with us. Will is a LARPer, player at the Empire LARP system here in the UK, but also on the crew of Menhir's Fate, the brand new Fest LARP here in the UK. Will is on the crew team responsible for the Bankers Guild at Menhir's Fate. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure that you subscribe. If you're new to the Two Haven't Troll universe, give us a thumbs up on the video, comment down below, give us the stars on audio platforms. If you are thinking about coming to Menhir's Fate, they do have a referral system up. And if you want to give us a little thank you for bringing you this content on Menhir's Fate, you can use our referral link down below for a discount on your first Menhir's Fate ticket. And with all that out of the way, let's get into our conversation with Will. Hello everyone, welcome to the LARP Tales podcast. My name is Oliver, I'm one half of your hosting duo. With me, as always, is my co-host Robyn. And also joining us today, we have Will with us. Will, you've actually, Robyn said this to me this morning, you're actually making history on the podcast because you are our first returning guest.
Yeah, I believe I spoke to you guys about the League in Empire.
You did.
What was it, 2 years ago now?
Yeah, 2
Oh
years
God, yeah,
ago.
2 years.
Yeah. So if you haven't checked that one out, go check that one out. So I remember that podcast we talked about the league, but we also talked about a lot about the economy of LARP and Empire. So just for a change of pace today, Will, you've come on to talk mainly about Menhir's Fate, the new Fest LARP in the UK, and we've done reviews and things like that. So go check them out. But yeah, Will, you're involved in the bank LARP that we keep going on about how awesome it is. So
yes. So with that, I think I spoke to you guys a little bit beforehand saying that we were involved and it's gonna be really interesting and we're gonna try and do something very, very different with Menhir's over Empire. So hopefully that's kind of come across somewhat. Empire comes across, and I think I spoke about it before, as a very PvP economic system. It's really you against everyone else and how rich can you get, while still doing as much as possible for the Empire, in inverted commas. We didn't want that as a system. We wanted to make this a much more PvE system. It's you and all your friends and all your friends in other nations against the world. And using your money to benefit everyone or benefit your nation is going to benefit everyone. So yeah, it's been very interesting to try and create that, and it's not been me alone. It's been me along with Chris Gowan, who also plays Empire, and Emily, who unfortunately couldn't be here today.
We'll hopefully get Emily on at some point to talk about that, because she's definitely a trooper when it comes to well, I mean, you all work hard, but
she's created this logistical miracle where it's come to be able to produce a in-game help desk, got game control desk kind of thing, and then produce that as a fully in character transaction. Like everything we do is in character. We know that at the first event, E1 or MF1, back in March, we had struggles with queues on the first night. Going into event 2, we changed up how we did things slightly. I think people realized they didn't need all their stuff out straight away. You don't have to have access to everything immediately. It's not other systems where you're given this paper bag full of things, and then you put your things off and look at them in your tent and go, "Oh, what do I want to do with my things?" It's a case of you have a bank account. You can come and visit your bank account at any time. We'll even give you a report saying what you've got in your bank account, and you can take as much or as little as you wish from that account, because you can always come back later. It's not a, oh, let's go over the hedge, I've got to go out character, deal with this hassle. It's oh, I'm going to go talk to my bank teller or the guy who deals with me, or the lovely assistant who deals with me, or actually I'm going to go talk to the bank manager who deals with me.
Yeah.
And I'm hopefully that's coming across to you as players.
But yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, we're loving the like the financial love affair between like Fadwis and the bank manager.
It does feel like kind of like a personalized experience, like going in, even though there's so many people, and like yeah, like literally like Fadwi's obviously like going in with him and just you clocking him and just being like, ah, yes, you come to me, you know, I will handle your affairs, don't worry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this whole idea kind of came about when I was sat talking to Nick Young.
Yeah, I was going to ask how did Nick rope you in to doing this?
So, wow, this must have been 2, maybe 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Won't know the particular time, but he first came up with this idea of this festival art that he wanted to do, and he kind of mentioned it to me and how he thought it might play out, and then he was talking about, oh, I'd quite like the economic system. Would you be interested in maybe making one or helping to make one with a few other people? And I'm like, that'd be really cool. Put it to one side, didn't really think about it. Time goes by, all of a sudden, there's loads of interest in this. He's got Alex and Trot and Ross from Hat Films invested. He's got Johnny and Kitty and loads of writers invested in it, and loads of people giving it the time. And he comes back and he's like, right, cool. So you know that time when I said you might want to build an economic system? Here it is. Would you like to build this? I went, well, yeah, okay, cool. Let's give it a go.
Just a small part of a game. It's just a small part of a broad game.
It is, but it's odd because it's purely mechanical in some regards, but you need to be able to tie it into the story. You need to build it into the lore, so it's working quite closely with how people interact with coinage. And it's really interesting because there was this whole thing where me and Chris sat down and we went, right, so what do we want these coins to be? And lots of people had lots of ideas, and lots of people had some good ideas, and lots of people had some less good ideas, down to denominations of currency. Well, why don't we use tens? Tens are really easy for maths. Well,
yeah,
tens are great, except when it comes to denominations of coins. Well, okay, how many coins do we want then? Well, if everything's going to be in denominations of 10, you can only have what, a 1, a 5, and then what's the other one?
Yeah.
You know, what,
Yeah.
a
It'll have to be
1
the 10. Yeah, you're only gonna
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that increases the quantity of coins you require because you can only have so many. So we looked at 12s and 16s and 20s and lots of different options. We also then went off and looked at lots of foreign currency, real life currency through things like Norwegian krone. Is really interesting because Norwegian krone is base 1. The smallest coin you can get in krone is 1.
It's 1. Okay.
And then it just goes up. So you can get like 100 krone notes. You can get, but you can't get any smaller than a 1 krone coin.
1 krone, right? Yeah.
You look at the Vietnamese money, on the other hand, you're getting banknotes for 1 million Vietnamese dong.
Yeah.
And you're buying items, you go out for a meal and the meal's costing you 2.2 million dong. And it doesn't feel like real money. So we had lots of conversations about that. We settled on the 20s. So we're going to have 3 stages of coins: the saga, the myth, and then the legend. Naming was another process, coming up with how we were going to name them and what kind of field we want to them, and lots of people got involved in that, and lots of writers got involved in that, and we eventually settled on what we've got now. Because we felt that it was a very much a story-based game, and it's all about making stories, and there's all stories in the world, and those affect things, and go out and find your myths, your legends, your saga, and then there, we represented that within the coins as well to try and tie that in.
Yeah, the coins are beautiful, by the way. The coins are really nice looking.
They have come out really well. They sadly required a lot of work to get there, which is, well, I suppose sadly is not really the right word. It took a lot of work from a lot of artists, and then trying to get in hold of manufacturers, which Nick dealt with, and the team did really well at sourcing the quantity we needed as quickly as we needed it. And I think it looks really good in the bank as well. We've got a lot of it behind, and you can just see these like boxes of coins. And you can be like, look, you want to keep your money with us because look, we've got all the money.
Yeah, shiny. This is what I like. It's very high fantasy because they're all shiny when they're in a pile.
Yeah, they are, and the more they get used, the less shiny they're going to get. But where there's still got a big pile of them, you've still kind of got that social thought of it being shiny, and it's that big dragon pile that people like. Because when you go to a bank, you're thinking of like, I don't know, maybe you're thinking of like Gringotts or something, and you've got these big vaults. Well, we can't really produce that in the field, so what can we do to kind of give you that same like feeling?
Yeah.
And also make it economically time economically viable for us serving you. Because when you've got 600, 700, 800 people in a field, and there's 8 to 10 of us, you're talking we're serving 100 people each.
Yeah.
And how do you physically get it from here to your hand in a really cool experience, but almost as quickly as possible? So we don't want to lose out on that role play, but we also don't want to cause 2-hour, 3-hour queues.
Yeah. I do love obviously how you guys do it, but creating that sort of experience when no matter how long, like, so the first event, obviously there was big queues and everything at the first event, but still, even though you've been queuing, the second we walked into that tent, it didn't feel like you were walking into a tent. It did feel like you were walking into a bank. It almost made you kind of slow down a bit, look around, be a bit careful about what you were touching and what you were seeing, because things just had that sort of feel of value about them, which I thought was really cool. You didn't feel like you were in a field anymore. It was like literally stepping into something different.
Oh, good, because that's what we wanted. Like each of the guilds themselves have their own feel and vibe about them, but we wanted from the bank was this is an official building. Like it's like walking into a town hall or walking into a bank in real life. The other thing we wanted from as well, when we were like looking at a bank, we're going, well, what is a bank? Because we realized today we don't really use banks the same way as we have done historically. Whether it's always an app on your phone or you go in, you set up an account, and they're more like town center help desks for when you can't fix it over the phone.
Yeah, no, that's completely true. Yeah.
And we were like, right, okay, well, historically, my parents and your parents and our grandparents walked into a bank and they went to a teller and they saw a person and they deposited cash and they took cash out and it all got written down in a book. Okay, maybe not our parents, that was probably still computerized, but like I remember seeing like bank books that my grandparents had as a kid.
Yeah.
Like in the house, they probably still have some lying around. And we wanted to give you that old time proper bank meeting, almost an 18th century. You walk in, you're having a conversation.
Yeah.
You know, and it helps with the world building as well, because you're not just walking in and having a customer service relationship with someone who is not a character. You know, these people in the bank are real people. They are real people who live in the same world as you, have similar problems with you. They have possibly similar outlook on the world or you know, opinions on current events as you do, because they're from the same nation as you.
Yeah. Which is ideal when you want to LARP at someone, because if you have an app on your phone, you can't convince an app that, hey, my investment is a good idea. Or
exactly, to like modern day mortgages and modern day loans have turned into a tick box exercise. Even if you go into the well, you got to go to the bank to go talk to the bank manager. Okay, fine. Well, I'll just pull up my website and we'll go through these boxes, and then the computer's then going to tell me if I can give it to you. Right, okay.
Yeah.
But historically speaking, you'd make friends with your bank manager and you'd go in and you'd be like, I've got a business idea. I want to set up a construction firm. I need some money to buy a van. And they'd be like, oh, okay. So do you have clientele already? Do you have this? Do you have that? And it'd be a conversation. and then you are convincing them that you're not a high risk, and then they're going to lend you this money.
Yeah.
Like, and they're going to get the money back. It's going to be a great idea.
Yeah.
And I feel that's where we've lost it in modern society, but it's really cool to have that experience in a LARP because it's not something we do day to day anymore.
Yeah.
And it kind of builds upon that fantasy world. So we wanted that game transaction to be fun. And I think we've pulled it off from
I think you have. There's something I've just thought of as well. Like there's also a little bit of like Brett, like when you watch like a Western or a high fantasy, and they're like the money is physical and it is there behind the desk, and you can see it. It gives that bit of, I know it's like we're not gonna have monsters storming the bank, but I mean it feels like it's very tactile, and you'd be like, yeah, someone could come in and take all that gold, so it feels like apt to have people like who like powerful magicians and warriors protecting the money because it's actually there. All our money is literally just sitting there.
Yeah, and I think it even comes down to like our logo and stuff. So you've got the image of the vault and the coin, and then it's like, I can't quite remember what our slogan is, but it's something like fortune
Secured future assured.
yeah, so sorry, fortune secure, fortune
Secured, future assured.
yeah, that.
Yeah.
So we have like that logo, and it kind of like goes with it as well, like the saying, and people kind of go, all right, so okay, and it's like that real bank feel with
Yeah.
it. And it sounds. I don't want to keep saying it, but like it is a real bank. Please use it the
Mhm.
way it's intended to be used. But I think what we've also tried to do is we've tried to slimline necessarily who you have to go to and what cues you have to do for out of game issues. So your character dies. Well, okay, you report your character death, and you come to the bank as you report the death, and
Right.
you get your new character, and then right, your new character has a new bank account, right? Because it's another person in the world.
Yeah.
Of course, they have a bank account. It's already with us. we just go and get the file. Here you go. Here's the file. What have you got in there? Oh, cool. You've got 100 sagas. What would you like to take out? And in their old account, if they don't have a will with the bank, anything that was left in their account goes back into the bank, and is used for the betterment of the nation you're in.
I can see Robin's face. Robin's like, crap, I need to write a will.
Right.
That was the face of, I don't have a will. I just write a will.
I've got
I
in there now.
I am not a safe person in this world.
So this is the thing. So we have lots of other transactions you can have with us. So you can come in and make group accounts or business accounts. You can wills. You can do builds with us, which I know you guys have like touched on. You can almost do anything bureaucratically speaking you want. So if you can come up with some bureaucracy that we don't have, come talk to us, and either we'll tell you why we don't have it, or produce a way of doing it.
Yeah.
So initially we didn't think that group accounts were going to be really needed to be a thing because people will have their individual bank accounts. And then at MF1, someone came in and was like, I would like to make a group account with my two friends, please. And we went, okay, cool, sure, we can do that.
I mean, that makes so much sense. We literally, okay, we do that in like the Empire in our little groups because we have group chess and group funds, and it sits in a little box in someone's tent somewhere. It makes so much sense to have a group account there.
Well, it's not just that, it's the fact that, well, what happens if you're a business, right, in real life? You make a business account, and you, Robyn and Oliver, have to roll business account, right? There's like a joint account, but it's not a joint account.
Yeah.
Well, why can't we do that in the bank? Like, there's no reason why we can't. We just write up a contract between you two and the bank. So when we were hit with that kind of curveball at the first event, we just turned around and went, right, yeah, we're going to do it this way, and these are the parameters we're going to set on that. And then going in, and then we were like, right, so someone wanted a will. We were like, we can hold a will for you. We can hold that. That's a very important document. we are not only your bank, but effectively your solicitor and financial advisor and your, you know, your bureaucratic department effectively within the world of Menhir's Fate.
I got me. The thing is, it adds another ripple. Like going to the bank, then adds another ripple to the game. And so, like, so if I'm at Empire and I'm like, I need to go deposit resources because I need to do a thing, I like you said, you have to go out of the game. Like I literally have to leave the game.
Yeah.
But with this system, I do technically have to stop doing what I'm doing, but I've not left the game. So I can still be like, oh, I've got to go to the bank. But
Yeah,
when I'm in the bank, that's part of my day as my character is going to the bank.
Yeah, and in the same token, you could come to the bank with your friends, and they're like, "Oh, I've also got to go to the bank. I should really deposit this handful I've got."
That's literally what was happening
And then
already.
you're like,
It's just
"Yeah,
like,
okay, cool."
oh, I need to go to the bank too. You know, people will literally go, oh, I'm off to the bank, and we'll go, actually, I better go as well. And everyone just goes in a group to the bank.
Yeah. So with that as well, we also have to have security like measures to make sure that your account is safe.
Yeah.
So we've dictated that anyone can deposit into your bank account, because if they wish to deposit into your account and they go, I want to deposit into account number 1031,
Yeah.
and you're like, okay, we go off and get the account, we go, you know, what's their name? And they go, this is their name, cool. So deposit, I can't tell you what's in the account. I can make a deposit for you. You can't withdraw it, but you can deposit, because if you're depositing it, that's safe, right? You're not taking away from anyone. That's just you giving them something. But if you want to withdraw your own money from your account, or someone else wants to draw money from your account, we're like, well, hang on a minute, you're not the name on here, and you don't have any of your passwords, and I don't have you as a, you know, authorized person to access this account. They're gonna have to come here. And I know that's awful to say, and you're just trying to help someone, possibly, or
Possibly not.
yeah, possibly not. But that's the security measure. Like, you have to come. And we certainly found with some nations, with the way they name themselves, they've given a password, but then they name, like, they go by like, well, one word, like quick or whatever it is, and then they have like 45 name, like, all the way down, and we're like, they name the whole thing. We're like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I know this is you, but can I have your password, please?
Yeah.
Or they decide to give their name like the craziest spelling ever.
All the different
you know.
symbols. Yeah.
Yeah. Can we have? And I look at it. Yeah, Father 13. I'm not reading that. That's just a bunch of letters.
No, it's spelled DDCM.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you're like, okay, cool. And your password is?
Just give me the password. I love the immersion that gave me when the second event when we came back. I'd forgotten about the password thing, and I came back and they're like, "What's your password?" And I'm just like, "This is like a real life bank phoning me asking for my coke." So you're like, this, yeah.
Oh, I went for a signature because I'm an idiot.
Yeah,
and I was like,
real life
signature,
well.
that'll be fine.
Yeah.
And they went, okay, write your signature, and I was like, oh no, I
How
don't
did
remember.
How does my character write their name in a signature?
But it kind of builds that thing up. It's like everyone's literate, you know. Everyone's able to sign their name or give a password or something. And yeah, it builds upon that immersion. It like helps you build those characters. And I think going into like your second character or maybe your third character, you're going to be like, right, so I'm going to have to make a bank account, go there and withdraw my money and give them a password and remember the password or sign something. And what does my character want to be? Oh, my character wants to be this priest who does such and such, and therefore I'm going to put my password to do with something like that.
Yeah.
And I think it just helps build things a little while keeping everything secure and safe and fun for everyone as well. Part of what I like as well, people kept dragging other people into the bank. Like, we'd have someone be like, oh yeah, no, so we want to do this thing and we're going to drag random NPC into the bank. And you're like, right, I'm here to talk about a bridge and this guy's going to help me build it. And I'm like, okay, that's nice. Right, so what are we doing there then? Right.
Or NPC.
And you are, and this, you know, I'm seeing my friend who I know is a crew member going, yeah, so I am such and such and such, and I'm willing to do such and such, such and such. And I'm there going, okay, right, because we're not given any heads up on this. Like the plot will go out, and we don't need to know. Like, so we're just reacting to it the exact same way as everyone else is, going right now. I am gonna implement this. Doing yes, okay, cool. So then the price is going to be, and you're going to put in this much. Yes, okay, yeah, that's not a problem. And such. So yeah, I help. It helps with that as well, and it creates a lot of fun for us to play behind the desk as well. It's not. It doesn't feel quite so much as a job.
Yeah, because you guys are LARPing as well behind that desk.
Yeah, and we all have characters. Like I play Gustavo from Portavas, and I have I have my waistcoat, my sailing trousers, and my jacket for when it gets cold, and pearls on it and whatnot. And you get someone else who's Portavas, and they're like, I don't want to deal with them. I want my Portavas friend. And then you build up those relationships and whatnot, and then also you're like, well, so go on then. What's happening at Portavas then? Because I want to deal with the bank, and then you get people to like tell you what's going on in the world, and you kind of get this idea of what's happening.
Yeah. So
building up that friendship with your banker, being able to have that person on side when you want to do something, and
and I think it goes both ways as well, because we obviously get really busy, and we have we implemented at Menhir too these boards with like the bank manager meetings. And it's like, well, the board's on this side of the meetings on this side, the board on that side, the meeting on that side, and it was like, I can't remember, it was like half an hour time slots all the way down, for like pretty much all day, with bits of it blocked out saying no, we're not open then, or this person won't be taking account meetings then, and we'd be like, right, cool, we're just doing this meeting, but it's overrun slightly, and then the next person's come in, and they're like, yeah, don't worry about it, I'll sit over here and I'll wait, and I have no issue waiting. And while they're waiting, they're looking at like other builds going on or something. And then as soon as you're done, you're like, I am ever so sorry. Let me just have a mouthful of my coffee. How can I help you? And then they're like, yeah, it's not a problem at all. You guys are really busy, and what you guys do is great, and blah blah blah. And then they go, yeah. And so what I want to do is,
so like the builds, were they something that you guys at the bank came up with? Because it feels like a very world building thing, or was this always a thing like broad?
so
Because they affect the game massively, obviously.
they do affect the game massively. Emily effectively came up with this idea and system of builds along with Nick and a couple of other people. It was this idea of they mechanically need to do something, and we can mechanically need them for things. So the best way to implement those, like the outcomes that we need or want, is through builds. We then sat down as a banking team, and these ideas were thrown around a bit, and how they work and what they do, and what are we going to tell players, because obviously we don't tell you quite what it does. We might give you a general vibe of what it does, and you're going to have to go and wait and find out. But really it's an Emily creation, and she looks after it, and then before event 1 you saw there was a table full of like already partly constructed builds.
Oh yeah.
I think there was 90. I might be wrong on that, but I think there was 90, and Emily wrote all 90 of those, the descriptions and everything.
Yeah, so that was like I'm assuming that was like a kickstart, like here are builds you can do, here's a bit of like plot to get you started, and then
it's almost like tutorial to the world, tutorial to how we want you to play, right? Because no one's played this game yet. We aren't entirely sure on how players are going to react, so we need to teach them without telling them how things work. And how do we do that? Right, we need some builds available for them to build. Okay, well, how many? Well, are we putting a limit on how many builds can be a season? No. Okay, then let's just write as many as we can. And we need them to do as many different things and to hit different categories for us. So different things work different ways and have different effects on the world. And it's for the players to work out what that is.
Yeah. And you're telling people to spend their money as well. Like you're literally saying, here's a load of money, and there's obviously there's some like in-character bars already. But other than that, there's like a lot of, especially if we chose money, we have like 100 sagas just sitting there, and we're just like, what do I do with all this? And it's like you've literally put something in front of people to be like, you can fund it, and some of them you can like, oh my god, I can fund this whole thing myself, and it'd be a cool thing.
Oh yeah, totally, yeah. And along with those, like the whole world building of that is, well, the bank's got all the contacts.
Yeah.
So you want something built, I've got the builders. There are builders. They're in whatever nation you're in. So if you're it's being built in Kairos, well, I'm not going to import builders from Hammerstack to Kairos. I'm just going to use the bank's Kairosi builders. And it's kind of like we're the middleman. So we don't do mortgages because mortgages are death traps, right? It's a debt for life.
Tell me about it. Yeah.
And we're like, well, we don't want debt in this game. It shouldn't really. That's very PvP, you against someone else.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're not going to have that. We're just going to have crowdfunding instead. You know, what would be the most ideal, almost community funded way to build things and do things? Okay, we're just gonna crowdfund everything.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what nation you're from either.
Mhm.
Like the if you're from Hammerstadt and you want to build something in Kairos, you totally can. I mean, maybe go talk to them because they may be upset about you building something in their land. But nothing's stopping you.
What are you doing? Building a shed? Why? Who are you?
Well, yeah, exactly. I don't know. You might be like, oh, I want to build a race course for ostrich chariot racing, and I'm going to build it in Hammerstadt, who doesn't have ostriches. And
Yeah.
you're like, why? Well, I've got a plan. I'm going to build this thing, and then I'm going to go find some ostriches to go race.
Yeah.
Well, why not in your own town? Well, I'm from Erdvan. We don't really have a city.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that kind of makes sense then, right? Because you can't keep transporting a dirt track. Like,
Around, exactly. And then you have spectators, so how much that would be full of spectators? Yeah.
Yeah. And then we might advise the bank, go talk to some Hammerstatties. You know, like go talk to someone from that nation and get a few of them to agree to it because you might upset people.
Yeah.
We don't know. But these builds also allow us to give you, like, we don't guarantee plot from these buildings.
No.
And you also don't own these buildings. Like the bank does. Well, the bank looks after these buildings, but we don't own them. They just exist. No one owns the land. No one owns the buildings.
Yeah.
Like it's in Hammerstadt. It's on common land. Effectively, it's been built. You building it doesn't give you ownership over it. It might have an issue, and we'll go, well, who was interested in building this? Well, this person was interested in building this. Send them a letter saying, this thing you built, plot. But it doesn't. You can deal with that however you want to deal with that. You can go, nah, not interested, or yeah, interested. But we're just gauging it by what you as a player were interested in doing, and then thing. But we don't guarantee plot from anything.
Yeah.
The same ways we don't tell you what any of these buildings do. Like the actual mechanics of these buildings is all behind the curtain.
Yeah. You
as players can work it out, but if you go and work it out, then great. Yeah. You might be completely wrong.
Yeah. I know a friend of ours is like fully funded one, and I read it, and I'm like, it's gonna be.
Yeah, we've fully funded the crazy mystery tower. Don't know what it's gonna do. We just want to see.
Mystery tower, it's gonna be great.
Yeah, totally. And for us, like we behind the curtain know what everything does, and then ends up doing lots of like, oh, this is going to cause different changes there, and this is going to do that, and blah blah. But we're not going to tell you how that works. We're not going to go. Other systems would. Other systems go, give us this amount of money for this thing. It's going to produce this.
Yeah.
There you go. That's how this works. It's all very open. And if you're good enough at maths and you're good enough at convincing people, then you can make anything happen, right?
Yeah.
Well, that creates barriers for people, and we don't want barriers. We want to give as many people as much access to as much fun things as possible. Like I think going into the event 1, we had a shrubbery that was for White One Saga, but it was just a bush, and we're like, well, how do you want your bush to look? They're like, great, cool, we're gonna have it this way, and we're gonna do this and that and blah blah. I think it's like called just another shrubbery or something. And
brilliant. Key forever.
Yeah, and this person then's like, oh, cool. But the thing going with this is that it's got like a One Saga upkeep cost. and you need to come to the bank and come talk to us, and we'll take it out of your account and say, yeah, that's been paid.
Yeah, just paying that one gardener to go and tend to the shrubbery.
Basically, yeah. It's just we're just gonna go. You've built this thing, and you agreed to this. It's a very, very, very small amount of investment, but you got access to it straight. Like it's kind of like, well, here's plot. Go look at it.
And also, the plot writers in the background. It's always there for them to look at. You never know.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Everything that gets built, anything you do, may or may not have something tied to it. Lots of things do, and there's lots and lots of moving parts. But that's for us to work out, and not for you to necessarily worry about.
Yeah. Luckily, you have players like Al that will take the system straight away and be like, "Yep, I'm doing this thing."
Oh, totally. Yeah.
What this is about? Let's do it.
He came to me quite early on Saturday of E1.
Yeah.
And
remember, he got all dressed up for his bank meeting. He's like, right, I want dragons. I was like, okay, what? Okay, bye.
Yeah, he turns up like all his armor and all his finery and everything, and I'm like, dude, it's like 23 degrees. Are you okay?
He's like, to make a good impression.
Like, yeah, sit straight down, and then he's like, right. So the hedge, and then goes on, because I don't know anything about the hedge. Like, I'm from Portavas, like, not my spiel. And he's like, there's dragons that live in this hedge. And I'm like, is there? And he's like, yeah, there's definitely dragons that live in this hedge. And I'm there going, I don't remember there being dragons. That I feel that might be something that I would remember. But okay, if you're telling me there's dragons, you've convinced me that there's dragons.
Yeah, okay. He'll do that.
I'm now going to let you build this thing for dragons. If dragons exist, I'm not going to supply you with dragons. That's not my job. I'm just going to build you the building. And he was like, yeah, cool, no problem. And I went, but you want to ride them, right? And he went, yeah. And I'm like, well, that building's only going to be like a hatchery. What are you going to do with them once they've hatched? And he's like, oh no. And you can see his eyes light up and go, this is turning into something a lot bigger really quickly.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I want people to be able to, ride them. I'm like, okay, so you're going to need to train the dragons, and you're going to need to train people. And he was like, yeah, I am. And what is this going to be for fun? Is it going to be for, like, are you going to, I don't know, I'm assuming it's not going to be for fun because you don't like them in the hedge. He's like, no, I want to use them as, like, they're going to go out there and help sort the hedge out. I'm like, well, they're going to need weapons then, and armor, and like saddles, and all these other things. So that's going to be another building. And he's like, oh yeah, no, I see this. I can see this. And then he somehow got this fully funded.
Oh, easily. He came out and he was like, so like we had like, I don't know, a national meeting at some point, didn't we? I think a lot of people
it was hilarious.
And he just explained the whole thing, and people just started throwing money at us and just being like, yeah, dragons, because he's like,
there with a bowl, and everyone just started emptying their coin purses out.
Everyone's just like, yep, dragons. Everyone's obsessed with this dragon thing.
From every nation as well. It's not just our nation,
but
people from all different nations coming over, being like, are you the dragon man? Okay, here you go. Here's some money.
Yeah. Well, all I know is he came in on Sunday and literally brought this like giant chalice and just kind of went, yes, I'd like to make a deposit against my build, please. And I went, yeah, okay. And he literally just goes, and it's like, coins.
He likes doing that, yeah.
Well, it's a great sound. The coins as well, it's a great sound. You actually hear them go, like, and they just spread all over the table. I'm like, I'm gonna have to count these now, aren't I?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah. And I look across and I'm like, can I have some help, please, other tellers? And there's like three of us counting all these coins.
Honestly, you talk about like it's not guaranteed plot, but what it has done, and like Al's the perfect person because I know that that's the reason he's done it, because he's just like this generates game across the field because everyone's now invested in these dragons, and even if the Menhir's crew don't give us plot because of it, we're all talking about it, and and we've now, people are now starting to have an understanding. So we had that funded pretty quickly, because that first build was, it was a lot of money for the first event of the game, but still,
yeah, I think it was looking in the lines of, I think it was about 12 to 13 myths on the top of my head.
Yeah.
And anyone who makes a deposit gets their name written down against it as well. And then obviously we take all that money. When it's fully funded, we take that away, and in downtime, Emily and Beth do some magic with all the accounts on computers. Because don't ask me to use a computer, it goes. Yeah, like, nothing to do with me on that one. I'm not a creative type or a computer person. They do some magic with it, and then they upload it onto the system. All your accounts get updated, and then I know Emily then rewrites the sheet. So the build ideas, and when we get you to come into do a build, we get you to write down what the vibe you want, what you might want to look like, how big is it going to be, and that helps us give you a price of how much it's going to cost you to go off and build this thing.
Yeah.
And we have like a guideline of things that we go by. Like if you say, "Oh, I want a giant factory that produces huge volumes of cloth," and we're like, "Cool, well, that's going to be really expensive." And then you turn around and go, "Actually, what I want is a shed in my garden where it's got 2 or 3 workbenches, and I can like make some boxes." We're like, "Well, that's a lot cheaper." So we then take that kind of initial idea on your sheets that we quite often hand to you, and you go off and you come back to the meeting, and then we write something up, and we write something up in the vibe of that, and you get a lovely little narrative of what this thing is. And it's all on the wiki under like Bankers Guild builds or Bankers Guild buildings or something, and you can go look at that. But then we take it one step further. So not only is it on the wiki, it's also in the field. So when you come back the next event, you can come to the bank and talk to us, and we will go off and get the file of the completed builds and take out your completed build and hand it to you. And the text on there will be exactly the same as it is on the wiki. It's the narrative of what this thing is.
Yeah, that was really cool. Coming back to Menhir's Fate 2 was then going into the bank, and then all the folders were there, and then you could like check the progress on the dragon thing, especially when there's other people there from other nations, just like, "Hey, check this out. Look at this."
Yeah. So we don't necessarily put it out on the table. The complete ones you might have to ask for those, but like the table will have all kind of ongoing current builds of different sides and whatnot, and it's very interesting to see how people are reacting with those.
Yeah.
Tell
you what, it's a good thing that you like. Obviously, we had the hatchery funded really quickly, but then the next step was a big jump, and it's a good thing you did that because everyone was getting like, "Oh yeah," and this, and we're just like, "Oh, is it how when will they be done?" And we're like, "No, like we've I think it's like it was like 12 or 13 legends or something like that," and everyone's like,
Yeah.
"Oh," and we're like, "1 legend."
Yeah, so I think you've got about, I think it's a round number of like 10 left or something on that one.
I think we did.
Yeah, it's like 10 left. Yeah.
But people got a bit excited and we're like, "Oh, they think it's like imminent." And we're like, "No, we don't have the eggs yet."
Yeah.
And if we get them, we need to build the next thing before they hatch.
Yeah, so this is the thing as well. So then people are going off and doing different things, and we can do different stipulations of it as well, right? So we're like, right, we need you want to build a giant farm, but you want it to produce like as soon as possible. Well, we can look at talking to the weavers and what kind of weavings can we do, and start dragging in other bits of things from other guilds. Oh, you want to go off and find dinosaurs to have a dinosaur hatchery because you want to have an egg farm because dinosaur eggs are way better than normal eggs. Yeah, sure, why not? Go talk to the Adventurers Guild.
Just giant chickens, really, aren't they?
Yeah, like go talk to the Adventurers Guild. Go get them involved. Go talk to the the treasure hunters. Go talk to all the other guilds, which then gets them into different bits of the game.
Yeah.
And gets them talking to people, and then the Adventurers Guild might go, "Yeah, I'll help you with this, but I want you to do this thing for me." And it's kind of like self-writing personal plot because you were particularly interested in something. I have given you a side quest in inverted commas to your main goal of whatever you're doing this weekend, and you go off and do it because it fills a little bit of time, and then all of a sudden your weekend might completely change. I was going to go to this fight and do this thing and talk to these people, and all of a sudden I want to build this thing. Oh, to build this thing I need to do all these steps, and they don't have to be done now. They could be dragged out over multiple games.
Well, I mean, yeah, like Al's like just power gaming LARP, and he just like goes in and goes, "I'm going to create all this LARP for myself," and just that one meeting he had with you at the first Menhir's Fate has basically filled up his entire 2 events. with
Oh,
dragon stuff. You know,
and we'll probably fill up the next 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Because he's got a substantial amount to go and do with that. But it gives him lots of things to interact with. And if he wants to put it on pause, it's no like, oh, it's not done in a year, it's not funded. No, it just sits there until you finish it.
Yeah.
And then we go and build it for you.
And it's been a good example for other players as well, because other players have been like, oh wait, you're doing stuff with dragons, and they're I think it's got the juices flowing of a lot of other players being like, oh, let's do a thing where we like say ride ostriches, you know, run a race.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. There's things like that. There's like people are doing like building giant shipyards and lumber yards for shipping, like building ships and like building their own world plot. They're like, this island, I want to do this on this island. I'm like, okay, cool, yeah, we'll build a thing on that island for you. And then you've got like, oh yeah, and you've got other people being like, I just want to build a shrine. And you're like, all right, cool, how big of a shrine? And they're like, well, not a really small shrine, but like not something cathedral size, so just something, you know, small chapel maybe. And you're like, okay, cool, yeah, let's go do that. And they come back later and they're like, so I funded it, can I make it bigger? And you're like, yeah, let's get the people out again, let's go make it bigger. And if you want to come back to a build they've already finished and make it bigger, go for it. We'll sit and talk to you about that. But I think what I really saw with it as well is it really taught people what the money was really quickly.
Yeah.
Because if you've got a goal of a few sagas, you can be like, okay, cool, yeah. And then you go, right, okay, take Al for example. I need to build this thing and it's 13 legends, and people are like, oh, how close are we? And he's like, yeah, we've got a legend, and everyone's like, well, how many sagas is it into a legend? And they're like, well, it's 20 sagas to a myth, and then 20 myths to a legend, so it must be 400 sagas into a legend. And then they can give people the reality of how big things are and what kind of currency is. And it did that without having to be like, right, everyone, this is how maths works, or this is how your money works.
Yeah, because you can then see it's like, oh, as soon as you come to the game on the first or second event, it's like, 10 legends. That's a lot of money because it's a big thing. That's about a cathedral worth of stuff. It's not a beer, but it's a cathedral.
Oh yeah, but if you get enough of you together, you probably could have actually built it in one game.
Yeah,
because it's pure numbers at that point, isn't it? If you get enough people together with enough currency, doing enough things, you can almost do anything.
Well, what we found happened, obviously, a lot of people were investing this in Valdreth, but then other people were like going, oh, actually, I quite fancy getting into funding something. So people were then going and picking things up, but then that would obviously split the available money, because there was other people going around being like, oh, I want to fund this thing. So instead of one person going around to all the tents being like, hey, I'm doing dragon stuff, there was like 3 people going around, I'm doing dragon stuff, but then another person comes around and being like, oh, I've got magical mystery tower that I want to fund as well. So.
Yeah, and that I think that's the point. It creates that kind of unique game, which isn't like we don't want the used car salesman, right? Well, maybe having 1 or 2, fine, but we don't want every person being like a used car salesman. I want to build my project. Come help me build my project.
Yeah.
Having a few people going along and doing that's really fun, and if you're really enjoying that, great. But there's other ways to convince people to like buy into it. Being like, oh, I'm doing this thing, isn't it great? Blah blah blah. And everyone's like, wait, what? You can do what? And it's like, it's almost, as I said before, it's almost like tutorial to the game without requiring like a tutorial to the game. Like you're finding out as you play, and that's the point. The whole game is kind of like, is this something I want to do? Is it something I can do? But I don't know. Well, how do you find out if you can do it? You go ask, and then we'll try and explain to you, all completely in character, if you can do it and why you can do it, and if you can't do it, maybe why you can't do it. Like if someone turned around to us and was like, you guys deal with bureaucracy? Yes. Insurance, do you do insurance? And we're like, no. And he's like, well, there's bureaucracy that you don't do then. And I'm like, insurance is just a scam. And they're like, what? I'm like, you're paying someone in case something happens. But what happens if it never happens? And they're like, yeah, but what happens if it does? Well, if it does, never mind. Whoops. But But what happens if it does happen, and then for some weird reason I write a really horrible contract that says I'm not going to pay out anyway? Because I could. We could come to some sort of agreement where I say that I'll keep your money safe if you pay me this much per whatever, except in these 100 situations where you don't, I'm not going to pay out. And one of those 100 situations will almost guarantee that I don't pay out. And which I can completely do that other systems, and we didn't want that in this system.
No.
Yeah.
I didn't want that in this system. And therefore everyone looks at it and goes, oh yeah, you're right. Insurance is a scam. And that's why the bank won't touch it. Like, we don't do insurance. Like, we ensure that your money is safe because we'll guarantee that if it's written in your account, that's how much you've got.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't cost you anything. We're not going to convince you to give us, oh no, actually pay a £10 a month fee and we'll make sure that your money is even safer. What? It doesn't really work. And I think it kind of steps away from the vibe of what we want.
Yeah, you want to keep it. They've very much tried hard with it because the whole setting is like we're all in it together.
Yeah, and bad things are happening and will happen because realistically, if you're going to have an insurance firm, be like, well, okay, it's going to be perfectly safe unless the bad guys get it, you know, and then what?
Yeah,
because the bad guys are winning, right? That's the whole idea of where we are currently in the world.
Yeah,
and that's why we have Haven, because that's why it's there.
It's also how your bad guys act as well. Like, so you've got like Fallen, who are like hoarders of wealth, right? They're there to exploit and just hold on to assets and go, this is mine. It's not everyone's, it's mine.
Yeah. And then you've got, what was the other one? The Void,
yeah,
and they just destroy everything, right?
Yeah. So there's no point in having anything because they're going to kill it anyway.
Yeah. So it kind of leads into like, we are in it together. We are, you know, those things don't exist because of these reasons. So we are waiting for people to come in and be like, what about this crazy bureaucracy thing that they worked out how to do that we don't have yet? We're actively encouraging people, like, is there a service that we don't provide that you'd want us to provide other than insurance and mortgages, you know, debts? Because those three things basically are the same in the same category of, it's just not fun, is it?
Yeah. Is there something that we don't do but is also fun and creates something more for everybody?
Yeah, exactly. Like take a will. The bank will only recognize wills that the bank holds, right? So if you go off and write a will, come in, and you want us to hold it, we'll co-sign it. We'll, yep, not a problem. Anything in your account will then have to be, you know, given over according to that will, and we'll look after it, and we'll make sure that like goes through. And we're kind of like the executors of the will. If you write a will between your group and it's for your stuff that's not kept in the bank, then fine. We're not involved in that. We don't need to be involved in that. But if you don't have one with us, then we're not going to hand over the things, because that's that security thing again. Like, oh no, this person's died and give me all their stuff. Well, no. If you've left the will with us and they go, we can look at the will and go, oh yeah, look, this person said these people get these stuff, and then we execute that and make sure that they get their stuff that they want. Interesting way to help players find a couple of little loopholes around that. That they didn't have a will, but were still able to withdraw their own things from their character who was dead. I won't ruin that.
Well, like, what if you like left it to your twin sisters, not actually in Haven currently?
So you just write that in a will, right? So you just write that in the will and you pay the bank to look after it.
Yeah.
Right. The clever play that a couple of people did around that was they didn't have a will. They didn't leave it. They left it to someone. They gave it to someone else. But the way they did it was incredibly, incredibly clever around the nation they were in. And they used other role-playing things that enabled them to effectively have a will without having one.
I think I.
But we'll leave
so
that.
There's one nation coming to mind, but I will leave it. This is a perfect nation I'm feeling would do something like this.
Yeah, and now we've had it happen a couple of times. The bank maybe now be looking at how do we go about not closing that loophole because we're like, well, that was very, very clever. Yes, you've got us. Interesting. Because we're all about that, right? It was really cool and really fun, but also we don't want something to get abused.
Yeah.
So yeah, but no, come to us, talk to us about bureaucracy. If you go, what about this? What about that? There's generally something we can help with for those things.
I feel like it's a game that is supposed to discourage players making bureaucracy and things like that their game, because you're more of it's an adventure. Well, I feel like it's an adventure game. I feel like it's being sold as an adventure game. So even if it's a bit like D&D, even if you play a character who is a banker in D&D, the idea of the game is that you go off adventuring. That's the idea. You have an adventure. So
yeah,
you guys are doing the bureaucracy for us to facilitate us going out and doing cool shit. I mean, you're holding our money. You're like the downtime in D&D where you go shopping and then you go to the bank and then you go, oh, I'm going to get a magic item, do this. That's what the guilds are for. And then you go out and do your adventure. So I think if someone comes to the game being like, oh, I'm going to set up an insurance company at Menhir's, I think you're discouraging people.
No,
It's not that type of game.
If someone wants to come along and try and set up an insurance company, go for it. If you want to borrow money from a friend and you have a contract with that person, the bank won't stop you doing that.
Yeah.
We might turn around and say, why are you doing that? But we're not going to stop you having fun. And if that's the fun you want, go for it and see where it plays.
Yeah.
It's just the bank won't give you a loan. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
It does.
And that kind of also plays into the fact that we have a lottery as well.
Yeah. Tell us about this lottery.
So by having something in your account at the end of the haven of the weekend, you get entered into a lottery. And so there wasn't a lottery obviously at the first event because no one had left something in their account. All the people who had left something in their account from the first game going into the second game were entered into a lottery, and they were able to potentially win a check, a big wooden cardboard cutout check that won a whole legend, so 400 sagas. And we had 3 of them, and they went to 3 different nations, and 3 different people. Literally, we walked up, so we got the Court Daggers involved, 3 or 4 bankers were there, and we've got the Court Daggers. We're like, right, we're going to need as many of your people to safeguard this check as possible while we go up and find this person to hand them this check. We obviously have to make sure we can find them at a certain time. So we coordinate with the Threads of the Nations, being like, right, we need to know where the person's going to be. Is this a good time? Is this not a good time? And we'll try and
it's just the dying on the floor. You've won a legend. Oh no.
Well, yeah. And we'd be like, oh, maybe we
Would
need
you like to write a will now?
Yeah. So the idea is that we get a big group of the Court Daggers who then organize a lot of the players who are members of the Court Daggers. They escort the bank members through Haven to find these people. We go, you're a legend. Here's a giant check for a legend. You please go take this to the bank and cash it in.
Yeah.
And when they take it to the bank, we literally just hand them a 1 legend coin, because on the check it says you're eligible for 1 legend. So we just give them the 1 legend because we're very, very particular. And the amount of times they go, wait, what? So we gave 3 checks out last game. And the first person we came to happened to be a Portavas player. And it was like you see on TV when you win the postcode lottery, you see these adverts, and they're like, "Oh my god, I won!" And they're like really emotional. Well, it was exactly like that, and it wasn't put on or anything like that. We were like, "You've just won a legend." And they're like, "Wait, what?" And they're like, "You sure?" I'm like, "Yeah, here's your check. Please take your check." And they were like, "Oh my god!" And they took the check and they first bear hugged it, and they're like, you can see in their face that it's like meant a huge amount to them because they've suddenly done, they've suddenly won something they didn't expect to win for doing nothing other than just depositing some money into the bank account at the end, by the end of the event, by having something in their account. And they literally then go off with some kind of Court Daggers and get taken back to the bank and handed their coin. and the rest of the gaggle will then go off and try and find the next person. So the group gets slightly smaller and smaller as it goes, going through. But each person reacted it, and they're like, wait, I won. You're like, yeah, you look, here you go. It's not a trick. You're like, here you go. And they're like, oh, well, what do I do with it?
Yeah, I mean, a legend is a lot of fun tokens. I mean, if you drink beer,
Yeah.
there was a place in Valdrafe selling a pint of beer for 3 sagas, and I was just like, you can,
Yeah,
you can have a lot of fun with a legend.
So the reason we've done it is to kind of, one, encourage people to use the bank for banking purposes and be rewarded for that in a fun way. But also kind of give a player the conundrum of, what do I do with this large quantity of money? Like, and it is there to help build up that idea of, you don't need to hoard wealth. Like, you're there to try and help everyone. Every player's there. Every person's there. We're there to collectively beat the bad guys. And the bank's just giving me large quantity of money, and what am I going to do with this? And I shouldn't really hold on to it, but I should probably do something with it. Maybe I'll hold on to some of it. But what do I do with it now?
Yeah, because I'm in that position, because especially, say, like, the game's early as well, like, and I've been there in both games, and have my money. I've not really done much with it, and then I'm like, well, it's going into the either the fun for the dragons or something else. But then we're like, well, there's no point in putting all my money into it now. Well, this is just my character's idea. I was like, well, there's no point in putting it all in now, because then it's gone and I can't access it. So I may as well just leave it there in case something else comes up that I can help. But the only things I'm thinking about doing is, obviously, if something comes up to help something or help build something. Or I'm not there being like, oh, do I need to keep it because I want to buy this, which will then make me more money. It's literally just it's sitting there until someone goes, oh, help, I need, like, 4 myths to do this. And I'm like, oh yeah, I've got 4 myths.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, and this idea is get you helping with other things. One thing we haven't touched on yet is all the resources.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
other than physical coinage, which I think we've kind of covered the things you can do with that, you also obviously have all the flicker and the essence and everything. And that's being used to go and do, I don't know, rites and rituals and enchanted items and whatnot. And then obviously you have faith. And one thing we love doing in the bank as well is that kind of like the checks, like, here you go, here's a spiel and you've won a thing. One of the things when you come into the bank and initially get your money out, we go, here's your faith. Remember, it can't be sold. Horrible, nasty thing happen to you. I don't know. You stub your toe, get kidney stones, eviscerated.
Weird, yeah.
And
Better be
and
than have kidney stones, to be honest.
yeah. And they're like, oh yeah. And it's kind of that reminder: you can't sell your faith, but you're going to use it to devote to the gods. You're going to use it for helping your priest out, and that's where you get your faith. And that's a step, like the first step into like the religious side of the game. It's where you're going to get your flicker out and your essence out, which is going to get you into your magic and get you into your enchanting and apothecary abilities, and you're going to use it for that. Obviously, the way people use things is really interesting to me. Touching back on like economics of the game, how people take the things they've got and use them and spend them and move how it moves around the field is very interesting to us as the bank, because we kind of want to keep an eye on it, because we want to see what people are doing and why they're doing it and what are they using, and is that going to cause a scarcity of something? Is it not going to cause us? Are they going to react differently? And that changes like the economics of the game, which then changes how people are spending their money. So, because all of a sudden you might find that on Saturday, well, on Saturday afternoon, we've had quite a few people depositing to do these builds, but all of a sudden no one's depositing anything, and you're like, well, hang on a minute, what are they doing with it then? Like, what else? What else are people doing with their money? Because the building is just one thing you can do with it, right? Because money can, like you said, buy beer, you can buy flicker for people. You please do not buy faith, but you can do these other things with the money, right? So with that, you get people like the mithril man or the flicker fella,
The flicker fella, yeah.
coming along and doing lots of trading and stuff like that, which is a whole other thing. It's absolutely amazing to see him.
Yeah.
It was great to get to talk to him as well. I was like, how finding it and
when I heard his voice, it was so funny.
Yeah, and for a lot of people who are at Menhir and it's your first ever game, or you've never LARP before, or you've never been, you're a LARPer who's been LARP for years, but you've never been to Empire, the Mithril Man or the Flicker Man was a very well-known character in that game. And he's playing this one similar, but not the same. because he thoroughly enjoys economics and he thoroughly enjoys the trading game and talking to people. And I get to talk to him and be like, oh, so what is things going for? And how much is water? How much is this thing? Are you coming to the bank's auction later? And he's like, the bank's got an auction? And we're like, yeah, of course the bank's got an auction. Like, we have stuff as well. We store stuff for wealthy members, and if you want to sell something through the auction, you can do that. And it's a good way of like kind of for us to get information about what we do in the bank out is through people who do lots of trading, because not everyone wants to do that, right? There's people who want to be adventurers and they will just do adventuring, and that's amazing.
Yeah.
But maybe you want that really shiny sword.
Yeah.
And you can come talk to us and be like, well, how do I get this shiny sword? And I go, well, you need to talk to the Apothecary Guild, and you need to get access to the right things, or you need to talk to the Enchanting Guild, and you need to get the right things. And I will, where can I buy that from you in the bank? No, not from us. Well, we've got an auction that you can buy it from, but you want to go out there, and we can then point them in the direction of these traders and these trading houses. And for us, it's really interesting because it gets people using the money like real money. It gives it more substance than just fun tokens.
Yeah.
Also,
like you're saying, staying away from PvP, because like when you hear you say that, it feels like, oh yeah, I've got to go like get some money to get the sword. How am I going to get this sword? So in a situation like Empire, it's just like, well, I need to PvP my way into money, and then I'm going to buy the cool thing. I know you can get resources from elsewhere if you're like looting at Empire, but like literally in Menhirs, we were just hanging out in the dark, and a load of will-o-wisps were just hanging out. We were like, let's go on an adventure. We talked to the will-o-wisp, gave them some beer. They gave us some flickering essence. We now have flickering essence to sell because we don't need it. So
yeah, exactly.
PvP happened.
and then you can sell that to like someone who wants to do trading.
Yeah.
And that person can do some trading.
Yeah.
You get some money. You can use that money to build dragons.
Yeah. Yeah. We did it through adventuring, not through PvP.
Yeah, we just did it through just like going out and trying something and having fun with it. And it came to the end of the event, and we were like, oh, we still got this. I don't know what to do with it, so we put it in the bank, and we thought, we'll take it out next time. We'll do something fun with it.
Yeah, and like you said, it's not PvP. You don't have to go out and try and convince your group to put it all into a pot to then go out, like send one person out to try and trade to buy things cheap and sell things high to try and build that pot up to get the thing you wanted. Like, there might come to a time that does happen, but everyone should be receiving enough through adventuring or through their packs that through a little bit of common trade, they are able to, acquire those things. But they need to go talk to people. And there might be easier ways to do it. You might, go talk to this trader, and they will give you access to everything that you want straight away for a money value that you want, because you took the money option and not the item option because you felt it gave you more freedom, or whatever.
Yeah. I guess it's, like you said, you got to keep your finger on the pulse, because the game, especially because the game's so young, it can change. Like, the priorities of the players can change quite rapidly. Like, that first event, it's just like there's nothing much to spend money on apart from builds, and then you might be like, oh, cool, it's all about the builds, and then like I say, something else happens, or a bar ecosystem appears in the field, and that's where the money starts going, not into builds.
Yeah. And then what do we do? Well, how do we create game? How do we stop people hoarding large quantities of cash? How do you stop a 1% system in what is not
what's supposed to be that? Yeah.
Well, yeah, Menhir is not a corporate system. It's not the American capitalistic system, and it's not designed to be. So how do we encourage people without going completely communist?
Yeah.
To spend their money. Well, if you're going to talk about this on a political system, socialism somewhere in the middle, right? Technically, if you're looking at theory, and then you've got to base that around, well, what do people think and how do they act as real people? Because
the relationship with the money,
yeah, and because we are all real people in the real world who have our own values and views on how and what money is, right?
Yeah.
And particularly in the UK, we act and we spend money in particular patterns, right? And there's some really clever people out there who can probably predict how we all do that. You know, due to the fact we are Western, and due to the fact of our history, and due to the fact of our current economic climate, we're gonna do X, Y, and Z. And if you came from, I don't know, Turkey, you believe money in a different way. If you came from China, you're gonna have another viewing thought on it. We do have to tailor our game to our audience. You know, the game is predominantly going to be English. It is also going to be predominantly people from this age range who have a view of money in these particular ways, and how do we encourage them to use the money with the way we want them to ideally use it?
Yeah,
because it is fun being rich, isn't it? It's fun sitting being like, oh, look at all my shiny coins.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. And then part of us also wants to go and go, look at all the things we've done with all our stuff. And we want to be a game where it's like, look at us, we've done all this stuff with these things. It's like Victorian England, right? They're as rich, but the rich built museums and
stuff, yeah.
And libraries, right? And we got the great the British Library in London was built effectively through rich people donating money and books. And that's a huge asset we still have today. Well, let's use that viewpoint and try and encourage people to do that.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's really interesting, like, coming into Menhirs and getting told, it's not PvP, it's this, is that, and everything. I kind of thought, the only system that I've properly played is PvP. And I'm so used to, like you said, hoarding that money, hoarding that wealth to use for different things and putting a lot of value on that. And it took a little while when we first started playing Menhirs to be like, oh, it's not that game. And like we had the money sitting there and we're like, well, what do we do with it? And people are asking for things. And now what's really strange, 2 games of Menhirs has actually changed the way that I use coin in other systems. It doesn't necessarily work the same, but obviously we had first 2 events of Menhirs. And after that, my whole attitude towards it completely changed. And it came to like the last Empire event. And I was like, as people needed things, I was like, yeah, I've got money, take it, whatever. I don't care, because I want to go and have some fun game, and I want to go have some game with my friends, and you're going to have fun with this because you're going to do that. And I just started playing it differently.
I mean, that's
because
very
I
much
was
tied
like,
to
do you know
our
what? I don't care.
character approach, playing Dornish nobles, that our nobility isn't, like, our status as nobles isn't tied to the amount of wealth we have, usually the opposite. So we can get away with that, and that's the thing with Empire. We're saying, oh, hoard wealth, but you can do it the other way, which is usually what we do, is not have any money but PvP our way into just getting what we want anyway.
Yeah, and I think that's what's good about Menhirs and Empire. They're very, very different systems, and I think before Menhirs Event 1 came out, people were like, oh, it's going to be LARP 2.0, it's going to be this, it's going to be that. Or you had the other way, and you had people being like, it's never going to work, an in-game bank can't work, you can't physically do it, it's never, how's that going to work? Like, no one else has ever done it, it can't work.
It was a bold move. When I heard of it, I thought it was a bold move. I was like, oh, interesting. I can't wait to see what happens.
Yeah, and I think people have got so stuck in a very traditional way we do things, they just forget things can be done differently. And like, we're not saying that Menhirs is better than other games. We're saying it's different from other games. I personally love Menhirs, and it's not just because I've built bits of it or helped build bits of it. I just like the community vibe we get. Like, the whole field's a community.
Yeah.
And like you said, everyone wants to help everyone in it. It's about everyone against the world, not you against him and against them. And oh, by the way, there's some barbarians we're fighting over there. And like, oh, but it's okay because that's not where I live.
Yeah.
Whereas with Menhirs, it's a case of, yeah, my home's getting attacked too, and so's yours, and yeah, mine's having a bit of a bad time, and we've all kind of forgotten this thing because of the fading, haven't we? Yeah, that's really bad. And right, what should we do? Well, let's poke some bears and find out.
Yeah. Menhirs, it gives me the vibe of like high fantasy, where it's like it's Lord of the Rings, we're all the Dark Lords come, we all better work together in this moment to do the thing.
Yeah.
Whereas like Empire is more like something like The Walking Dead, where it's just like, oh, there are zombies, they're scary, but what's really intriguing is how we interact with each other in this zombie apocalypse. It's two
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very, very different. And I think people who have not come to Menhirs yet, who are long-term players of other systems, who I'm not saying Menhir is going to be the game for you. Maybe Empire is your game. Maybe CP or LT is your game, and that's what you want to play. Yeah, that's great. What I would say is come to Menhir and see how it's different. It's going to have similarities. It's a fantasy game. It's going to have similar vibes. Maybe, guild systems work similar to other games you've seen. Maybe money works similar to how other games you've seen. Some of the mechanics might be similar. And you might go, you know what, it is good, but it's just not for me. And that is okay.
Yeah.
But you might go, actually, kind of prefer this. Like, why can't Empire do something like this? Why can't LT do something like this? Maybe you're from Europe and you could play Dragonfest. You know what I mean? Which I'd love to go to. I want to see more about. Maybe you come over and you go, huh? Well, okay, we can have amazing kit standards and do something different.
Yeah.
So I think that's the point. Is like a lot of what people were saying beforehand was, well, they're just trying to reinvent something that's already invented. And I think what we've done is we've tweaked things. But look, things are possible that you've told us aren't possible.
Yeah, exactly.
It's definitely not I will say, but for me personally, it's not I didn't go into and see the way you were doing it with the bank and then the in-character picking up the packs, things like that. I went, this is awesome, but also I didn't go, Empire should be doing this, like, either.
Yeah.
I didn't go in there being like, oh, Empire should change to do this.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, exactly. And I don't think Empire should change to do what we're doing.
No.
What we do is very different, and I think people just need to realize that it's okay to be different.
Yeah.
What is funny though is we obviously struggled with bad queues on the Friday night, and there was a lot of people going, oh, queues were really bad. But other than that, yeah, everything else was great.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, cool. And then you get to other systems and you're like, yeah, queues are bad, aren't they? But we're just used to it.
Yeah.
And then like they're not even mentioned. Like, oh yeah, well I queued for 2 hours to go get my player pack. But when Menhir did it, it's like, oh well, the queues are really bad, isn't it? Because really it's in game. And you're like, okay.
I mean, you touched about. I mean, it's maybe LARPers and gamers, but it's also like you touched on like British culture earlier as well.
Yeah.
There's a bit of British culture there as well. Of like, we get used to something and we don't like change, but we're also going to moan about the thing that we're used to.
Yeah.
Try something different. We're gonna
moan about that as well. Yeah, totally. And I think that's also the thing is like it does, like the hot synopsis are great as long as you're reading all of it and you're not just going, well, I'm not going there because the weather was bad. you know what I mean? Like, oh, I ruined their event. Everyone said the weather was bad, so I'm not going there. Well, is that something they could have controlled? Was that something that could be affected by the game runners? No. Maybe if they turned around and said, oh, weather was bad, but we also had a really good time anyway.
Yeah.
Because that is the hots, right? The nuts always generally seem to come first because people want to get them out of the way.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you guys have seen it before, like you making up content. How important is like the first 30 seconds?
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
If your first 30 seconds of reading someone's review is, yeah, it was really wet, I had to stand in a queue, food options were limited.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is why
that's what you're getting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never really write like hots and knots anyway, because we sort of do this, but then I'd never really like to, when we do our like recaps, one, it's supposed to just be like, we started doing them for us. We have like a backlog of this kind of encyclopedia of all our experiences, but it's not really, I don't like to think of them as a review either, because we do it to get people into LARP and get excited about LARP.
Yeah.
Like you said, if we came on and went, this is the worst event ever, I spoke to some rude guy, he was a LARPer and he did this, and he wasn't very nice to me, and then this happened, people would be like, sod LARP.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think it's one of those ones there's been a lot of it in the media recently with we had Fire Festival a few years ago, didn't you? And then you had the Willy Wonka experience, and then you've recently had like that fancy book LARP where
that was unreal.
Yeah, but you look at it and people go, oh, they hit headlines and everyone knows about them. And you're like, that is 3 events in 10 years.
Yeah.
How likely is it to be that every event that's new is going to have that happen?
I mean, yeah, we said this like on our first Menhir video. I said to several people at the end of the first event, I said to Nick, I was like, that's like what you guys pulled off for a first ever Fest LARP was pretty like flawless, as in, you know, it's because even because Matt P is like very open about, he talks a lot about, you know, how Maelstrom went and how the first Empire went, and for like to go in and have a successful first Fest LARP. And some people complained about the queues and the security, and that was it. Like, was a big win, you know.
Yeah, and I think going to the second event, you saw that we took on the advice, and I think that's like key as well. I think other events do really well at seeing the feedback and then implementing it. And I think that's really important for us at Menhir is to do exactly the same. Like, we want your feedback. What impacted your game? Is it something that we can easily change? Is it something we just looked over? Like, maybe the text on something needs to be slightly more readable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We've got a lot of people putting a lot of hours into different things, and obviously we can get a bit tunnel visioned. Like, I know I do. I go, well, hang on a minute, these things can't work because this has to do, and this has to do, and this has to do. And so I was like, well, yeah, but you can still do those things if we just do these little changes. And you're like, okay, yeah, there's a little change. But if I got real tunnel vision, I went, no, I'm not looking at the changes. I'm gonna keep doing
Analysis
this.
paralysis type thing. You're just like, it won't work, you know. They won't buy it, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think being a new festival up, you have to have that. You have to kind of have that feedback. And I think Menhirs and the directors are doing really, really well at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, to bring it back around to like economy, I guess that's the same kind of attitude you got to take with economy. You can just be like, oh yeah, economy's really, you know, because it's beginning of the game, it's really unstable. It's just like, well, how do you, you know, I can't make it not unstable. You know,
Oh yeah.
I can't just fast forward to 10 years and go, right, it's going to look like this in 10 years. Let's just fast forward. It's just like, yeah, of course, the economy's
Oh yeah. And
wobbly at the minute because it's the first
we'll, you know, and there's things we can do to help the econ become more stable, and most of what that is monitoring to see what people are doing. You know, and we sit there and go, we talk like you guys, like, well, what did you spend your money on? And you can tell me that it's bills, and I'm like, great, okay,
Yeah.
Not super helpful for me to work out how the ecom's working, but great, you're having fun, and that other things we've done are working really well, and you're enjoying it. And then we go off and talk to the Flickr Fair, and we talk to some other people, and we're like, right, okay, talk to me about how this is working, how people are doing this.
See, you thought that calling him the Flicker Man was
No,
not
the
a good
Flicker Man's
idea.
way worse than Flicker Fella. We can't call him. What was then? They're like the Essence guy. And I'm like, no, that's even
The
worse.
Essence guy.
No. Flicker Fella, I think, is probably the best of the three. So.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll come up with a suitable rhetoric for himself.
Yeah, it's quite funny actually because when we spoke to him, I'm pretty sure when we spoke to him, this was on the podcast we did with him. I'm pretty sure he mentioned, but he talked about because he obviously just his Empire character had just gone, and then he told me about like a concept he had for an Empire character. But coolly, it seems like he's coming with that concept with this one, you know,
Oh,
and it
cool.
fits quite nicely because he's in Valdroth, and it fits quite nicely in Valdroth.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, so we're over time. Is there anything else you want to go over?
We could talk about this.
I know we could talk about for hours and hours. Yeah, we've already gone over.
Yeah. I think I've covered everything. What I'd like to do though is ask your viewers for their opinions and questions that they'd want me to answer. So maybe if you could talk with your listeners and your viewers and correlate what they want to know, because I'm happy to sit here and talk about all the generics and what we do behind the scenes and what we do here and what we do there and how we come up with these ideas. But if they've got a burning question and they're like, well, I didn't want to ask it in field because it's not something my character would ask, or I'm a brand new LARPer and I don't understand how this works, and you guys don't know the answer, like, because I'm here and I want to know what would they like to see the bank doing and how can we help them become more invested.
Yeah, I like that. We'll do that. Yeah, like leave us comments, send us messages. Because I will say, like, peering behind the curtain of our lives. Obviously, we ask you guys questions, but like especially at Menhir's, we're mates with all you, right? We're
Yeah.
like when it comes to Menhir's Fate, we're very close friends with pretty much almost everybody involved. We actually have a good idea of how the sausage is made at Menhir's. So yeah, there's some questions that I probably wouldn't ask because I'd already assume I know the answer anyway. But yeah, that's a good one, Will.
Yeah, but yeah, thank you ever so much for having me on again.
No problem at all, mate. No problem at all. Right, we will wrap it up there. Guess we'll say goodbye to the podcast. See you later, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye. Thank you very much for stopping by. If you enjoyed this episode, let us know down in the comments. Give us a like, subscribe, give us the stars on audio platforms. If you're interested in coming to Menhir's Fate for the first time, we do have a referral link and code down in the description and the show notes. If you do want to give us a little kickback when you're purchasing your first ticket, it gives you a discount, and you can use it with other discounts as well on Menhir's Fate currently. Thank you very much for stopping by. We love you very much, and stay safe.